I trust you. When was the last time somebody said that to you? And it's something that I've heard a number of times in my life. But have you ever found that when somebody says, I trust you, it's actually accompanied by feelings of insecurity in yourself? Like when somebody's asked you to do a specific job and you're like, me, you want me to do that? And they're going, yeah, I trust you, right? And you're thinking, why? Because you're really not sure if you have that capability. I've had this scenario happen many times over the years, and one of the first times I encountered this, like on a true level of trust, was when I was about 18 years old. Now, like many people in this world, I left school having failed most of my exams, including my favourite topics, having come away with art and geography, which didn't feel like much of a career setup. And so that in my local area where there was very little job opportunity, by the time I was 17, 18, I found myself working in a food factory. It was frozen food. There was lots of different lines packing different products, lots of machinery and lots of people at work. And I'd only been there a matter of weeks when one of the supervisors approached me and said, Kay, we want you to be a line operator. And I was like, what, me already? And they're like, yeah, you can do it. You can do it. And so it took about 3 days of training, not complete days, but teaching me how to do it and then watching over as I did it for a few days. And there was a lot to learn about the machinery itself, what to listen out for, look out for, what to record and monitor, and then also all the troubleshooting. Because when those machines broke down, there was a 2 minute deadline for getting them running again. And that included if you had missed paying attention for a minute and the film had run out, so there were no bags coming through for the food to go in, and then you'd got to clean up as well. Learned that on the hard way a few times. But I then got laid off because it was seasonal work was very up and down. And it was 6 weeks later before I managed to get that job back when I hadn't found an alternative job. And as I went back, I went on to night shift. I went in on my first night again. I got my overalls on, I got my hat on, walked into the factory. You do all the ritual washing your hands and everything, and then you line up to find out what your role is for tonight. Only for me, at 18 years old, to be told, oh, Kay, you're running line two. I was like, but I haven't been here for 6 weeks and I only had a few days training. And the supervisor said, I trust you. You know what you're doing. And that was the first time I think I ever truly felt that sense of somebody seeing what I was capable of more than I believed it in myself. And it's a lesson that's stuck with me. And so I went to the machine and I just asked one of the engineers, electrical and mechanical engineers, to give me a quick run through of the panel that was lots and lots and lots of buttons, like the old classic Babbage machines. It was just loads of dials and buttons and levers everywhere. And so the quick run through for a couple of minutes, and that was it. I was on my way and I ran the machines quite successfully. And I did that for the next year and a half, running the machines. And it was also part of that was even from an early age, not a leadership position, but part of running the machine was making sure that either 3 or 4 members of staff were rotating correctly, were able to go off to the toilet if needed, and that I'd have to step into those roles as well as running the machine. And making sure that as a team we all reached targets, etc., etc. So there was a lot of stuff that I learned from very, very early on. Um, and I found this over time, over the years, that as I went into more and more jobs, I got put in at the deep end. And I'll cover this versus gentle learning in a minute. But very often when you go into a role, whether it is just a personal task somebody's asked you, or there is an actual job role, that anxiety is a feeling. And it's a feeling about your own beliefs. And that's based on what you think others will judge you for when you do that job. And you're worried about what happens if things go wrong. But it's like the old adage of, well, what if it goes right? And on many occasions, I've found myself in jobs where I go into a job and I have been thrown in at the deep end, like really well and truly way above my comfort level zone. And you have two choices. You can sink or you can swim. And most times when you want to keep a job, you will find a way to swim. And there have been jobs where I haven't and I have left. But you know what? If that's the case and they give me in work in over at the deep end and I sink, that wasn't the job for me. But every time somebody says, I trust you, I can guarantee I've achieved the job. And the other reason that was important is because I also want you to consider how it feels when you offer that trust to other people, right? When you offer trust to somebody, you support their beliefs in themselves and raise their capabilities. Now, the other part of that for trust and in at the deep end is gentle learning. And that's more of a personal development, long-term plan, like working on healing and self-talk and lots and lots. There's so many components to slow learning that you don't just suddenly make rapid overnight changes. But in at the deep end is a powerful concept that goes hand in hand with trust. And trust is a powerful thing to share. Even running my own business, where I haven't got somebody here with me directly to say, I trust you. Sometimes it's a phone call with a fellow solo worker at another desk in another house trying to do very similar things. And we all cross-relate our services and support each other. And just supporting each other and saying, look, I really need help with this. I trust you. I know you've got the capability for this. And when somebody rings up and says that to me, even today, I light up, right? It gives me a sense of empowerment. And I guarantee I will get far more work done in a day when someone says they trust me than a day where somebody gives me the alternative narratives. Like the jobs where someone has said, oh, go and do that job, but make sure you follow the instructions. Or can you just do that job? But if you get stuck, go and ask so for help, right? And the people who come out with those kind of narratives as managers, so here's a lesson for leadership skills too, is those are the jobs where I have felt unvalued, untrusted in comparison to others, and very often have ended up sinking in those jobs because their lack of belief in me has actually pushed me down rather than raised me up. And it is so important how we treat other people to how they actually succeed as well, but also how we take that feedback on for ourselves. But when somebody does mistrust you and don't show you your true value, don't take it personally. Yes, they are the jobs that I haven't succeeded in and I've left and I've not done well in them. But I've taken on reflection that actually that wasn't because of me. It was because of their lack of ability to trust and share and empower their teams. And those are the teams I don't belong in. I don't fit there. I need something far more empowering than that. And if I don't fit, I'm getting out and I'm going to find the place where I belong. Even if that is sitting at my own desk at home, reaching out to all of you here, I will find the place I belong. And I really want to empower you to do the same because I trust you to listen to your own feelings. Okay? Listen to your feelings and listen to other people's trust in you. I hope you have an amazing weekend. I hope you find people to trust you. I hope you find people to share that trust. And I tell you, I just want to say gratitude to one lady who, over the last couple of years, has many times rang up and told me how much she trusts me to do tasks to support her. And there are days when I've been sitting here feeling like there is no light in the world. Even though the sun is shining, it felt like there's no light in the world. And when she rings up and says that, I feel like I'm that little fairy who's about to die because no one believes in me. And there she is clapping her hands, and it's like my wings glow again, and I get that whole feeling of coming back to life. So I want you to experience that, and I want you to share that with people. I trust you. Have a great weekend.